Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. In science fiction, we obsess over shields. We dream of force fields that glow blue and stop lasers cold. We dream of armor so thick it can shrug off a nuclear blast. But in the real world of physics, stopping energy is hard. Absorbing heat is dangerous. If you take a hit, that energy has to go somewhere. But what if you don't accept the energy? What if you simply return it? Today's story is about the Solari Crusade, a fanatical alien empire that worshipped stars and fought with weapons made of pure, focused light. They came to Earth expecting to burn us to ash. They expected to melt our cities and boil our oceans. Instead, they found the UNS Narcissus. A ship that didn't have heavy armor, didn't have massive railguns, and didn't have a single shield generator. It just had a really good wax job. If you believe that working smarter beats working harder, smash that like button so it shines. And if you want to see the ultimate Know You card played in a galactic war, subscribe and turn on notifications. Shields down. Reflectors up. High Luminarch Kalen stood on the bridge of the sun's judgment. The Solari were a beautiful species. Tall, slender, with skin that absorbed photosynthesis. They did not wear armor, they wore robes of woven fiber optics. They did not build ships of steel, they grew ships of photoreactive glass and gold. They were the masters of optics. Their weapons were not crude projectiles. They were the lances of the dawn, lasers powered by direct stellar siphoning. A single lance could heat a continent to flashpoint in seconds. Approaching the dirt world, the light-bearer reported, bowing low. The heathens call it Earth. Our sensors detect a fleet gathering in high orbit. Kalen walked to the viewport. The star of this system, Sol, was bright and yellow. Good omen. Show me their defenders, Kalen commanded. The tactical screen shimmered. The human fleet appeared. It was confusing. Kalen expected blocky, gray industrial ships. He expected the crude bricks that primitive species usually built. But these ships were different. They were smooth. Perfectly smooth. They had no visible gun ports. No missile racks. No command towers. They were simple geometric shapes, spheres, ovoids, and teardrops. And they were bright. They were coated in a material so reflective that the Solari sensors couldn't get a lock. The ships looked like holes in space, reflecting the starfield around them. Silver? Kalen scoffed. They have wrapped their ships in foil? Do they think this will hide them from the holy light? It appears to be a chromium-silver alloy, Luminarch, the light-bearer said. Polished to a molecular level. Perhaps it is ceremonial? Perhaps they are surrendering by making themselves beautiful for us. Kalen laughed. They try to appease the sun. But the sun demands fuel. Target the lead vessel. Prepare the lance. Targeting, the light-bearer hesitated. Sir, the laser rangefinders are returning errors. Errors. The beam hits the target and bounces back instantly. The computer cannot calculate the distance because the return signal is too clean. It is like trying to range-find a mirror. Use manual targeting, Kalen ordered, annoyed. It is a stationary object. Burn it. The sun's judgment opened its main aperture. A focusing crystal the size of a building rotated into place. Energy from the ship's stellar core was channeled into a single point. The lance fired. A beam of coherent, yellow light, hotter than the surface of Sol, crossed the vacuum in an instant. It struck the lead human ship, the UNS Vanity. In any other battle, this would be the end. The beam would strike the hull, transfer its thermal energy, and melt through the armor plates like a hot knife through butter. The atmosphere inside would boil, the crew would vaporize, and the ship would explode. Kalen shielded his eyes, waiting for the flash of destruction. But there was no explosion. There was only light. Blinding, impossible light. The beam hit the curved, mirror-polished hull of the Vanity. Human engineers had spent 5 years perfecting albedo armor. It wasn't designed to stop impact. It was designed to have a refractive index of near zero. The Vanity reflected 99.99% of the energy. The laser didn't stop. It bounced. Because the hull was curved, the reflection wasn't a straight line. It fanned out. The focused beam was scattered into a cone of death, reflecting back towards the Solari fleet. My eyes, the light-bearer screamed, clawing at his face. The bridge of the sun's judgment was flooded with reflected laser fire. The viewports darkened automatically, but it wasn't enough. And it wasn't just light. It was heat. The reflected beam slashed across the hull of a Solari frigate escorting the flagship. The frigate was made of gold and glass, materials designed to channel light, not repel it. The reflected beam hit the frigate. The ship instantly overheated. The delicate solar sails vaporized. The hull turned into molten slag. The frigate exploded. What is happening? Kalen roared, blinking away the spots in his vision. Why did they not burn? Reflection, the tactical officer shrieked. Complete spectral reflection. They are turning our lances against us. Impossible. No material is that perfect. Physics demands thermal absorption. They are cooling the hull from the inside, the officer reported, panic rising. They are using cryogenic superfluid to keep the mirror surface stable. Sir, we are hitting ourselves. Kalen looked at the tactical map. The human ships were moving now. They weren't firing guns. They were rotating. They were angling their hulls. They are aiming, Kalen realized with horror. They are using their ships as lenses. Cease fire. Kalen ordered. Cut the lance. The beam died. The silence of space returned. The human fleet hung there, pristine, shiny, and undamaged. The only mark on the vanity was a slight discoloration where the beam had hit, a smudge that could be buffed out with a cloth. They have no weapons, Kalen whispered. They do not need them. We are the weapon. A hail came through. A human face appeared on the screen. He was wearing sunglasses. He looked remarkably relaxed. This is Captain Shin of the UNS Vanity, the human said, adjusting his shades. Nice laser. A little yellow for my taste, but it has good output. You mock the holy light? Kalen hissed. We don't mock it, Shin smiled. We just appreciate the lighting. Now here's the situation. You guys use lasers. We use mirrors. You can keep shooting if you want, but you're just going to give yourselves a sunburn. Or, Shin leaned forward. You can turn around and go home. And tell your sun god that Earth is closed. Kalen trembled with rage. You are cowards. You hide behind tricks. Fight us with steel. Fight us with honor. Pass, Shin said. We prefer physics. Kalen looked at his fleet. One frigate was destroyed. 2 others were suffering from thermal damage caused by scattered reflections. And the humans? They were shiny. Switch to kinetic torpedoes. Kalen ordered. Physical missiles. Mirrors cannot stop a bomb. Exarch, the weapons officer whispered. We do not have physical missiles. What? The Solari doctrine forbids dead matter weapons. We only use light. It is heresy to use solid projectiles. Kalen slumped in his throne. They were trapped by their own religion. They had brought flashlights to a mirror fight. If they fired, they died. If they didn't fire, they couldn't hurt the enemy. It was a checkmate. A checkmate achieved without firing a single shot. Retreat, Kalen whispered. The word tasted like ash. Exarch. Turn the fleet. Set course for the Scorched Star. We cannot fight this enemy. They are incompatible with our truth. The sun's judgment turned slowly. The Golden Fleet, usually so majestic, looked dim and defeated. As they engaged their warp drives, Kalen looked back one last time. The human ships were rotating again. They were angling themselves towards the local sun, Sol. They caught the sunlight. For a moment, the human fleet glowed like a constellation of new stars. It was beautiful. And it was the most terrifying thing Kalen had ever seen. The mirror defense became famous throughout the galaxy. It forced the Solari Empire to undergo a complete reformation of their military and religion. They had to accept that light was not omnipotent. Humanity didn't conquer the Solari. We didn't invade their lands. We simply held up a mirror and let them see that their greatest strength was also their greatest weakness. And the UNS Vanity? It is still in service. It patrols the border. It carries no guns. It carries no nukes. It just carries a very large supply of polishing wax. And a crew that knows exactly how to angle a reflection to burn a hole in a tyrant's ego. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. We spend our lives worrying about what hits us. But sometimes the best defense is to let it bounce off. If you enjoyed seeing a superweapon defeated by a shiny object, reflect that love on the like button. Comment below, what other childhood games like I'm Rubber, You're Glue could be used in space warfare? Subscribe. And keep shining. Reflection confirmed.